Hey yo, it's Heed. Oh my god, just had the most exasperating experience. I fucking accidentally said my real name on video, and I was like more than 8 minutes into the video. And then I paused and I was like, now what am I gonna do? I don't want my real name to be out there. I've actually already told someone my real name too, just my first name. But I like to be called Heed. I had this friend who started calling me Heed, because it's in my screen name. And I really like the sound of it. It's kind of weird to me, too, to have a name starting with H. My sister's name starts with H. So, to see the little symbol H for me is kind of odd because my name doesn't really start with H. So this week, this was supposed to be my third week of DBT. And there's the home practice I'm supposed to do. And I hadn't gotten it done. I was trying to get it done the morning of. Just quickly, I was like, whatever, just try to do it. I got a coffee, came home, and I was like, okay, just sit down and try to do this. And I was sitting there, I was thinking, I was really doing it, I was almost done. And then I got an email notification that the class was canceled. And this was already, it's the second cancellation. There's only been 2 classes. In between the first 2, there was a cancellation. Now the third one got canceled. Which just pushes everything back. It'll just go further into the future then, because it's every week. But I was so disappointed. I was kind of pissed off because I was like, man, I was trying so hard. And then it also threw off my schedule. How sudden last minute change. That's exactly it. I can't believe how much with parenting people are allowed to. Do you know what kind of strong effect that has on someone, having this sudden change thrown upon them? I mean, I understand, with school, if they're canceling school because of the weather, snowstorm, obviously it kind of has to happen at the last minute. But, I'm just saying, from the parents' side, it triggers all this stuff to happen to be oh, shit, now what are we going to do? For instance, my kids get a nice hot lunch made for them at school, right? So now what about lunch? I didn't plan for anything to do with feeding anyone lunch. I'm not prepared for this. And also, if both parents are working, what are they doing with that? In my case, my husband is at home, so it's fine in that way. And then, so I was going to go to my appointment, but then it was canceled. So then I also had to figure out what I was going to do with going to work. Because I knew that, someone lives there. It's just a really tiny business. Someone lives at the shop where I work. So he knew about my appointment, obviously. So he wasn't expecting me to come in. So I thought of it that, I should definitely give him a heads up because he wouldn't be expecting me so early in the morning. So I sent him a message, and I did go to work. But still, I guess in a way, I tried to create some semblance of normalcy by just going to work, even though that wasn't supposed to be the scheduled thing that was going to happen. I just went to work and worked for part of the day because it was still a weird, messed up day because I had to pick up my kids early. And then I went back to work after. And then I left work early because of snow. It was getting sketchy out, which I made it home just fine. I am kind of crazy acting for fuck, man. Shit. Sometimes in the videos I watch, Dr. Grande talks about people having insight and different psychiatrists and stuff. I'm not sure if he is a psychiatrist. He's a mental health counselor. Oh, right. He's a doctor. Yeah, so he has a doctorate. He has a master's. Well, I'm not exactly sure what his position is, but I love his content. And he was talking about a lack of insight. And you ever, how often do you get those type of moments where it's oh, you have an epiphany and you're like, oh, shit. Sometimes I get those with things that I'm oh my God, that is hit you on the head obvious. How are you just getting that now? Some things, I know the words of a lesson, but it doesn't mean that it's clicked in. I don't know if anybody knows what I mean. But then suddenly you're oh, okay. I should really be giving an example or no one's going to follow what I'm saying, are they? So that was only yesterday. Thursday is those appointments. And now today school is canceled. And I could see why. I almost fell down a couple of times just standing outside. Today school's canceled, and I'm also not going to work. So it's just staying at home all day. So then, even with that, I handled that pretty well, I feel like. I kind of just handled it as if it was like the weekend is starting. Surprise, it's the weekend, a day early, right? They're actually having a 4-day weekend. They have Monday off too. Oh boy. But then I had to decide what to do. Like, I had already got up. Oh no, I actually slept in. Yeah, that was nice. I got to sleep in. But still, when I did get up, I got my pills together. I had to decide what to do, if I should include the ADHD pill. So I did. I don't know if it's terribly obvious. I did smoke weed already too, but if you've been following this medication and such journey, you might notice that I had been all concerned about taking the drug with weed, like taking the ADHD drug and mixing it with weed. That's what the nurse had originally warned me not to do to begin with when I first started it, which I did listen. I didn't smoke any weed for 2 months. So the last 2 weeks are when I've been fucking up. Also, coincidentally, lining up with the time I've been in DBT. But I don't think that's the reason. I think kind of what actually happened was, yeah, what did happen? Oh, yeah, okay. I had been on the ADHD drugs for so long. And I kind of got this idea that I was being more who I am. And I had always been hiding away from it. And I was more showing who I am. Which included this being so anxious, so anxious. It was really hard to get used to. It was a very difficult transition to go from smoking weed all the time to taking a stimulant for ADHD. I felt a bit... When I had things to do all the time, it was okay. I had to always be doing something. Basically. It felt a bit of a rush. I had to always be doing something. If there was time in between, I would start to... It would, fill up with anxiety so quickly. I don't know if I'm doing it justice, but... And then I started to identify with that feeling of being so intensely anxious and really feeling that's who I am. That's just who I am. I really do feel that way. I'm that is me. But I've been, yeah, I guess it's to do with masking, really, because a trait that I admire, a trait that I really like in other people is being chill. And I try to be chill. I try to seem chill and non-judgmental. People have complimented me too on not being judgmental, and I try not to be. I mean, I try to basically just be worry about what you're doing. Why are you worrying about what someone else is doing? I mean, there is a certain point, I do think, if you see someone litter, you could kind of be don't be a jackass, yo. Because I just don't think that's chill. And I do try to kind of take my moments and stand up for things that I believe in. Shit, I've gotten off track now, haven't I? So I came to this depressing realization, kind of. I don't know if I was correct in what I was thinking, but I just kind of thought that the people in my real life, my family, don't really like the real me. Because it's kind of annoying, having someone who is uppity about things or just so uptight. There are so many different words that I kind of use instead of anxiety. I haven't been thinking of myself as having anxiety for a very long time. Let me give an example. Okay, so say, if you've ever been on Effexor, I was given Effexor, and when I first started taking it, it made me feel so freaked out. I felt so freaked out, which I guess is maybe one of those words I use for anxious, that I almost felt like I was going to throw up. I felt like I was pale, kind of weak, feeling my stomach didn't feel the best. You're supposed to take it with food, which I was. Some of these medication experiences I had, I was is this what anxiety feels like? Because, oh my God, I can't believe people deal with having this. But then on the other hand, I'm no, I do know what it's like. There's so many things. When people, for example, when people tried to tell me not to worry about this person, this family member that I was all worried that they didn't like me, the way this story actually turns out is that they had totally gotten past it and they were perfectly fine. It's another woman. So I had gotten into a tiff with her, which was my fault from saying regrettable things on text. And it was so bad that I ended it off with, I look forward to you hating me forever. So that's gives you a picture of how bad I thought it went, that I was like, I have fucked this relationship up. Then I spoke to my husband about it a bunch because I was worried about it. I was like, oh my God, she's never going to like me anymore. Every time I'm around her, I'm going to feel so freaked out, which that's like my problem, right? And I just thought like, okay, maybe I can just get rid of this tense feeling by just sending her a text and saying like, just something to get her to say something back. And then I'll be like, okay, she doesn't care. She's fine with me. So I sent her a text and she didn't say anything back. So then it was kind of just left hanging. And I was like, okay, so she either just totally forgot that I texted her, so it means nothing, or she just decided, like, fuck her, she's not going to text me, like, eat shit. Right? So it either means nothing or everything, right? And I was really overthinking it. I talked to not only my husband about it, but other people too. Like his grandmother, who I see a lot. And she said, she basically said, just don't let it bother you. Like, it's probably nothing. And they were right. That's what my husband said too. But I knew that it was possible that it was nothing. You know, I really recognized that as a possibility. But just in my head, that worst case scenario was totally in my head. And I knew that I was doomed to have that feeling of like, oh my God, she hates me every time when I was around her. I was going to be thinking about it until something happened that allowed me to not, like, to view her as not having a problem with me. Like, I'm so freaked out about people having a problem with me, or just like someone not liking me, or like offending someone. I'm really, like, mentally, I know better than to think like everyone's gonna like you. But I just, I feel really freaked out about it. Is that social anxiety? I don't know. I really want everyone to like me. I'm afraid about disagreeing. I don't want to have a confrontation. And like I said, I've been smoking weed every fucking day now. I think maybe part of it is just like, it's a bit rebellious. Like, is it crazy? Like, I'm in my 30s. Is it crazy that I kind of want to be rebellious right now? Like, well, I'm resentful. That's one thing. I'm resentful of this whole situation of how I feel like I have to do like everything with the kids. And my husband isn't even working. And then people talk to me about him not working. It's like, oh, how's he doing? And they're all worried about him. I mean, it's not that much, but. And I should be worrying about him too, I guess. And I'm just not really. I'm kind of just like, this is a pattern and he'll come out of it after a while, I guess. Like, I have been through cycles of this pattern before. Like, I guess it's really annoying to me that I have to always be doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, don't buy extraneous stuff. Don't do drugs all the time, right? Take care of the kids, get them to school, work all the time because we really need the money. And it's fucked up too how even if I work all the time, that's like barely enough to barely scrape by. Like, I still have to do other things too. There's still so much else, like smart ways to live to save your money, like cooking your own and baking your own whatever the fuck you want. And also just like keeping everyone healthy, like cooking, baking stuff for us to keep us feeling good. Like, going for a big grocery run is an area of struggle for me. I really need to do it. The last while, we've been getting by with the turkey. We got Christmas dinner, which included a turkey. I hope the sound isn't too bad. I just don't want to keep the door closed when I'm smoking. There was this program in town. We got a turkey. Free turkey. So one day my husband made it, and it was so much meat. It was a giant turkey. We put all the turkey meat in the freezer, and we've been just kind of getting by with that for quite a while. There's still 1 or 2 times more to go. I'm going to make a soup today. But I really need to go to the grocery store, like the big grocery store, and get lots of good stuff. Like, it would be really good if I could get on a nice program with doing a big grocery shop and hardly ever going to the store. Like, obviously that's going to save you money, right? The store for me is very close, like the little corner store, but it's not really, I mean, meat is so expensive. Everything is so expensive right now. Like, basically all week this week, it's Friday now, we have had hardly any meat to eat. Oh no, well, it's Friday now. There's only been 4 suppers. Well, one of them was fried rice, so it had eggs in it. 2 days I got ground beef. Yesterday was tacos. See, do I sound like I'm capable of making nice meals? Like I cook good for my family? Like, sorry, that was not spoken very well. I cook well for my family? Maybe it does sound like I'm doing fine. I feel like every day I'm flying by the seat of my pants. Like, I never know what's going to be for supper that day until way later. And it's like, how can you... It does work if you have the right things on hand that you can make something. Usually you can come up with something. I can scrape something together quite a bit. I have been doing different things to try to sort of save money. Like I want to get my kids used to the idea that you can't always have ice cream. Which I remember saying and thinking before how ice cream is kind of like a special treat. Well, not to my kids right now. They basically have it every day. But I'm trying to get them off of that idea a bit by saying, like, for supper after dessert, like for dessert supper, you know what I mean? Have a little dessert. Which I think that is not the best practice to be in. Like, there doesn't always need to be a sweet that you can have after supper. It's nice if there's something kind of snacky. Some people's way of living is so different than other people's. Like, some people have, like, loaded with chips and cookies and stuff, pantry type thing, and so much shit in the fridge. Like, the fridge is just packed full. It makes my head spin thinking of all that stuff. And I don't like having all this different put-away stuff where it's like you can't see it. You can lose track of what you're trying to do. Anyway, so what I was doing is, if it was going to be a day when we don't have ice cream, sometimes we'll make a cake, and we'll have cake for a few days. I mean, it's also good to just give the idea that, like, you know, you can always just make something. Especially something like, if you know how to read, you can probably make a cake. Just double check you have all the ingredients you need. You can follow those instructions. It's not going to be that hard. It depends what the recipe is, but a lot of them, like, there's you can find cake recipes that are not... It doesn't take a rocket scientist to make a cake, I think. This will be for Valentine's Day, right? Ho ho. I know some people might say that, like, you can't be addicted to smoking weed. But no, you definitely can. Like, the way I am with it, I'm just so not chill. I feel like it makes me more connected to things. Maybe it does help me be more present, but present in a certain way? I'm not sure. Like, it helps me feel more connected to myself. It helps me feel more connected to my surroundings and, like, noticing different things going on, like the birds. Really seeing what's around me, like how beautiful things are, like if there's flowers, feathers, you know? And also connecting with people can be so beautiful. I remember hearing on this Thoughty Audie, I love Thomas Henley, there was a woman on, an Asian girl, or she was probably an adult, I don't know. And she had autism, and she spoke about smoking weed, the benefit of smoking weed, and talked about like wanting to be able to connect with people and how she felt like weed made her able to connect with people and make friends, I guess. I don't know. It was a really long thing. Those interviews are so long. It's kind of hard to pick up on everything. Like, and take everything away. You never know what you're going to pick up. But it does seem like you do glean a lot of things over time, over continual study. Like, dude, if I just let myself run out of weed, here's my question for you. If I just let myself run out of weed and try to use the things that I've learned in DBT so far, which is only mindfulness, do you think I can just be okay and stop smoking weed for 2 weeks? I don't know, man. I mean, I am on drugs too. I also have medication. I have antidepressants. I take it very religiously. My ADHD meds sometimes I don't take on the weekend, but today I did. Which is why I'm like, boom, boom, right? Boom, ba-boom. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, I guess I've let it go on and on. I don't know if I made a point here or what I'm going on about. I hope there was some enjoyment and you found some meaning in this. Bye!